It's time for a player focus on Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver, free agent. Should Washington go after him? Let's go. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Ref the District's Player Focus. Today, we'll be talking about Michael Pittman Jr., a free agent wide receiver right now with the Indianapolis Colts. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner here, a part of Ref the District on the Believe Network. And during these player focuses, we're trying to look at some of the free agent targets because free agency is pretty big this year, Stoner, with everything that's been going on in Washington.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot going on here in Washington. We're all excited about it, Nathan, right? Because we have hope. We talked about it almost from our very first episode here on Ref the District. We talked about Washington. That's what we need as fans. We need something to look forward to. We need that hope that this franchise can finally turn things around and get better because the last 30 years have just been so bad. Now we have that hope. We've got new leadership in place all the way up and down the board, from the ownership group to the front office in terms of the GM, to the coaches, to the coaching positions, all that, all brand new. All hope is back here in Washington. So this is a huge offseason, and that's all we can do at this point now is start looking at what we hope Washington will do, get some of these players that we take a look at and that we like that are free agents, and then hopefully Washington will do something in terms of signing some of these guys so we can get excited once training camp comes around.
Well, speaking of hope, we hope that you like the content that we're providing you here on Ref the District. We're going to do this regularly, and we have our live content on Wednesday. So make sure that you do yourself a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening to this on your favorite audio platform, make sure that you leave us a rating and review, as it helps other people find us. And speaking of hope, we hope that Washington will once again be one of the teams playing in the Super Bowl. And the road to the Super Bowl starts with free agency right now that all the hirings have been done. And so you can check out the odds for Washington making to the next Super Bowl on Bet Online. NFL action's done for now, but it's not done on Bet Online because you can check that out. You can check out NBA action, baseball right around the corner. NHL is ongoing right now. And of course, March Madness right around the corner. So head to the best wagering news site, and that's Bet Online. Use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and get yourself a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Wide receiver is an interesting choice.
Interesting. Yeah, you don't like it, do you? You don't like that I chose a wide receiver.
I think that it's a bit of an interesting choice. If you listen to what the new hires have said about Washington, they seem to really like the wide receiver room. Now, Curtis Samuel is a free agent himself, and we'll be talking about whether or not Washington should re-sign him. And people can, of course, join that conversation on our Wednesday shows. But wide receiver with Michael Pittman Jr., I just feel like it's a little bit of a samey situation. He's kind of Terry McLaurin. And while we love Terry McLaurin here, do we need two?
That's interesting. Our player focus for this episode is sponsored by Don't sleepenergy.com. If you go there and use the code DISTRICT, you'll get 10% off anything on their website. We love the guys at Don't Sleep Energy. They're our local DMV company, and we love to support our local companies. So go to don'tsleepenergy.com, get 10% off, and you will thank me later because it is a fantastic drink. It will make you great. And so that player focus this week is Michael Pittman. I know you don't like Michael Pittman for a lot of different reasons, but here's how I'm going to try and sell you on Michael Pittman. You're right. Adam Peters, when he pointed out what he liked in Washington, he said the defensive tackles and the wide receiver room. And that's it. So you know what he likes. And Curtis Samuel is a free agent. So we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. Here's the difference between him and Terry McLaurin and everybody else. Terry McLaurin is 6 foot tall. Probably not even that tall, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Dotson is 5'11". Samuel's 5'11", De'Ami Brown is 6 feet. Those are your top 4 receivers from last year. Even I don't know if De'Ami Brown was the 4th, but Byron Pringle's not coming back. Okay, so you've got all small receivers. fast. Fast is probably the fastest trio with or quad. What's that called when there's four of them? Quadruplets.
Sure. We'll go with that. Quadruplets,
If you get all four of them, that's probably the fastest four in the league. That's fine, but how did that help you this past year? Not very well, although Sam Howell had plenty of yards, but the offense just didn't click. So you got a 6 foot, 5'11, 5'10, 6 foot. Michael Pittman is 6'4. He's 6'4 and 223 pounds. I'm getting excited. I'm knocking my microphone over. I love Michael Pittman. And though he's not a burner like these guys, he still runs a 4.5. It's not like he's a 4.7, 4.8 plotting tight end and a wide receiver kind of body. He's still fast. And he's a great possession receiver, Nathan. He'll catch anything. His catch percentage was 69.9%. Almost 70% catch percentage, which ranked 78th in the league. But that includes running backs, that includes tight ends, receivers, all of that. He was the 78th in catch percentage, and that includes guys who had like 4 targets. I didn't even break down the guys we should have thrown out of there. He catches everything. He's a great route runner. He's tough. He's big, and that's what Washington has lacked for so long. We wanted Josh Doctson to be that guy. He wasn't that guy. We've wanted so many times to get that guy. The Jordan
Sims
Reed
was everybody's favorite for years.
Right. And who did everybody want in training camp? Mitchell Tinsley. They loved the Mitchell Tinsley, the 6'4 guy out of Penn State, but he's just not as skilled, obviously, as Michael Pittman. And all Michael Pittman has done in his 4 years in Indianapolis, 336 catches in 4 years. He was in 62 games. I think he missed, he missed four games in his 4 years. So he's durable. Like I said, he's tough. This past year, he had 109 catches, Nathan. He was 5th in catches in the entire NFL, 109 catches for 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns. And who did he have thrown to him? Gardner Minshew, your love of the mid quarterback. That's him right there. Is Gardner Minshew. He had a little bit of Anthony Richardson, but 4 games or whatever it was. And look what he's done with all these catches. He has 336 catches in 4 years with the Minshew Richardson this year. Last year was Matt Ryan, Sam Ellinger, and Nick Foles. The year before that was Carson Wentz. And the year before that was Phillip Rivers, a washed-up Phillip Rivers in his last year, although Phillip Rivers had a really good year, but it was his last year in the NFL. This guy can do it no matter who's the quarterback. Again, he's big. He's exactly what Washington needs in this particular offense with this air raid offense. They need that guy who, if they decide to throw a zone against Washington, who can come across the middle and can take those hits. Terry McLaurin has shown he can take the hits, but not like a guy who's 6'4 and 220. He's just going to kind of bounce off some of these guys. This is what Washington has needed for so long. So, Nathan, they need to go out and get a Michael Pittman Jr. in this offseason and sign him as a free agent, even though they have a fantastic wide receiver room already.
They do have a smaller wide receiver room, and I don't necessarily buy into needing a big wide receiver, but I do think if Washington's going to go get a wide receiver, it should be somebody big. But you're talking about a possession receiver. When we have possession receivers, why not go for somebody who has bigger play potential? Because Pittman, even though he runs a 4.5, it's kind of slower on the field, it feels, as he doesn't get quite the separation that you would expect from him via route running or his size. Okay. So why not go for somebody who has big play potential and also a free agent in T. Higgins?
T. Higgins is an excellent comp. Believe it or not, T. Higgins is slower than Michael Pittman, at least in their 40 time at the combine.
Sure.
But they've been here for 4 years, the same amount of time. But T. Higgins does seem to have that big play potential. But you know what I'll attribute that to, Nathan? He has a big play quarterback. He's been playing with Joe Burrow for 4 years. Now, Burrow did have a couple of years where he's lost some games to injury, but for 4 years, he's been in the same offense with the same quarterback, same system. And also he's had another guy on the other side, a number one guy for the last couple of years, last 3 years, with of course, Jamar Chase. And so that takes away a lot of pressure and gives him the ability to have the big plays. He's not faster than Michael Pittman. He's about the same size. I think he's like 6'3", 220. He's about the same size as Pittman. They run about the same speed. He's just had more opportunities with the better quarterback. So I get why you might want T. Higgins and say he's more explosive. He's had 24 TDs compared to Pittman's 15 over the course of 4 years. But Pittman has more catches, more yards. The yards per play, per catch is higher for T. Higgins. Totally understand that some people might want to go for T. Higgins. T. Higgins a bigger name. T. Higgins might make more money. And so that may be why you're getting a little bit better of a bargain with Michael Pittman Jr.
I don't think anybody wants to hear that we're bargain bin shopping during free agency. And so let's get away from trying to go for the bargain bin here. You're trying to sell me on Michael Pittman Jr. I'm not entirely sold still.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about the cost of a wide receiver in free agency. We've seen over the last few years that price has gone up and up and up. This is a wide receiver draft that there are several names there within the top 100 that Washington could get.
Yeah.
That would provide them a solid number 3 to Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, who we expect to have a bounce back year under Cliff Kingsbury. So why should we go after Pittman Jr., spend some of our valued cap space on a wide receiver, taking up a huge chunk of that cap space, mind you, instead of going for a wide receiver who can grow with the QB we expect them to take at number 2?
Yeah, and I think that's fair as well. I think to be able to say, let's just get a receiver in the second or third round. But if you're doing that, you're taking away a draftable type guy at other bigger needs. We know wide receiver is not even a big need. If they don't re-sign Curtis Samuel, you still have 2 top receivers. So it's not like they necessarily have to have a third receiver. So don't waste draft capital on a position that is well stocked in Washington. Use that draft capital on linebackers, on corners, on offensive linemen. Please, God, please draft some offensive linemen. And save, and then use some of that money, some of the bigger money possibly, on a Michael Pittman type receiver. And I just think it's better to do that. Use your money on not necessarily positions of need, but almost a position of luxury. Don't go out and get a defensive tackle with that money, but go get a Michael Pittman who's going to replace a Curtis Samuel who made $13 million a year while he was here, and replace him with a guy who's going to make more than $13 million. He's probably going to make north of 20 to 21 to $22 million.
Oh, it's going to be big. It's going to be really expensive.
Right. So if you're going to go after somebody to replace Curtis Samuel, if you decide Curtis Samuel's not the guy because he's almost exactly the same as Dotson and McLaurin in terms of skill set and in terms of size, then that's where you want to use some of your bigger money, is on almost a luxury. And I want to call it a luxury that's not fair.
I was about to say, I don't think it's a luxury. And it's weird to hear this argument from you, Stoner, where you're like, don't spend draft picks on these positions, but then spend your free agent money on those positions, because
use the draft picks for positions of need.
We definitely disagree on how to fill out the roster here. So I'm interested in seeing where people sit on Michael Pittman Jr. Where do you believe? Are you with me and you're out on Michael Pittman Jr.? Are you with Stoner, who's all in on spending half of the free agency money that we have in Washington on a wide receiver who's probably wide receiver 2 on this team? So it's an interesting argument. Let us know in the comments section if you're listening to this on YouTube. Of course, make sure you also hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening to this on the audio, you can reach out to us at Ref the District and let us know what you feel about it. Again, I'm out. I actually don't want any wide receiver here in free agency. I don't think that's a valuable position to be spending money on unless it's your own guy who has shown that they're worth the money, or it's somebody who is in the top 5 who just happened to hit the free agent market. But
who's
Michael
wide receiver 3 for you then?
So probably someone you draft, and you don't even have to draft them in your top 5 picks, which are in the top 100.
Mm.
We'll be doing some more of these player focuses. And as we get closer to the draft, they will be focused on the draft targets that we think Washington should go after. And of course, you can help us out picking some of those. If there's a free agent target that you want, please let us know here, as we'll be bringing you these player focuses with more and more game tape as we get closer to those draft ones. I think most of these individuals are known entities, so we don't necessarily need the actual focus on tape right now. Maybe if Washington picks them up, that can be something we take a look at later. I'm Nathan Perry here. That's the Sonar on Ref the District, a part of the Believe Network. This has been brought to you by Don't Sleep Energy and Bet Online. So until next time.
He's 6'4", 225. Go get him.
Be a fan.